You thought I wouldn't be back until the next test between Australia and India, but you were wrong. Um, Checking in with some thoughts from the South Africa v Sri Lanka test match from overnight. Now, I'm not getting to watch this test match, unfortunately, which sucks quite a bit because I might be an Australian, but I actually support South Africa in the cricket for a number of reasons. But yeah, can't watch it. However, I had thoughts on it as I followed the score and then did a little bit of digging. So South Africa batted first, all out for 191, and fair enough. There was some speculation about could Sri Lanka, power on and take a first innings lead. And I had flippantly put out not a tweet, but a post on Blue Sky just before South Africa were about 4 for 80 when I posted, and I said South Africa 4 for 80, eventually bowled out for 180, only to win by 85 runs on day 4. This is typical start to a South African summer. So it was kind of amusing when they went out for 191 and then promptly turned around and skittled Sri Lanka for 42. I believe that was their lowest test score ever. But not particularly surprising. I mean, surprising in terms of 42, but South Africa turning around and getting someone out for, all but nothing, after seemingly struggling with the bat themselves, kind of a staple of South African summers, I think. So, it was Temba Bavuma for the South Africans, 70 off 117 balls, 9 fours and a 6. I like Bavuma. I think there's been lots of different criticisms of him and his batting average, etc. But on a deck where everyone else is struggling to make runs, he chips out 70. That in the long run could turn out to be a match winning knock, and he's currently 24 off 45 in the reply, with South Africa 3 for 132 and a lead of 281. So Sri Lanka all out for 42. And my main point for this little audio diary was just that this isn't particularly new. The South African bowling dominance, their ability to turn around and make you reevaluate the conditions. South Africa seemingly struggling to 200, or maybe on a pitch where you think, oh, they might score 300 and they get 240, or they go, oh, they might get 240 and they get 190 or something, and then just turning around and going, actually, once we bowl, we're going to show you that's a pretty decent score. Just a bit of the recent history. So just 5 test series before this one at home for South Africa. It goes back to 2021 against Sri Lanka. The South Africans in that 2-test series took 40 of 40 Sri Lankan wickets for 944 runs. And that's an average of 236 runs in each of the Sri Lankan team innings. They followed that up in 2022 against India, taking 60 of 60 Indian wickets for 1,390 runs across 3 test matches. That's an average of 231.6 runs per team innings for India. Also in 2022, they took on Bangladesh in South Africa, 40 of 40 wickets for 648 runs in 2 tests, an average of 162 runs per Bangladesh innings. 2023 against the West Indies, 40 of 40 wickets, 728 runs, an average of 182 runs on the board per West Indian innings. 2023, they took 33 of 40 Indian wickets for 609 runs. India averaged just 152.2 runs per team innings in that series. And then, of course, 10 of 10 wickets so far against Sri Lanka for 42 runs. Only one home test match in their last 11, dating back to 2021, have South Africa failed to take all 10 wickets. It's just that one game against India in 2023 where South Africa didn't, run through the whole batting lineup. Overall, it's an insane record they've taken 213 of a possible 220 opponent wickets at an average of 196 runs in those teams' innings. So on average, South Africa are bowling you out and for just under 200 runs. So if you put that then in the context of if South Africa managed to make 200 runs in their first innings, they're all but assuring themselves of either being even at the turn or ahead in a lot of cases. Because I should do the numbers on South Africa's batting in these conditions, because it would be pretty decent. And it makes sense, it's a home advantage. The conditions better. You've played in the conditions more often, so you would expect them to have that advantage. But I just wanted to highlight that this isn't an anomaly. Yes, maybe 42. I think that's the lowest score that anyone's been bowled out for in the last 11 Test matches in South Africa. I think there was a 53 in there somewhere. But South Africa taking plenty of wickets and for not many runs isn't, necessarily. That's not a new thing. But it also makes me wonder how to look at batting averages in South Africa. You look at a guy like Temba Bavuma, or guys maybe who, if you average 35 or something in South Africa, maybe that's, we have to just evaluate that slightly differently to averaging. Maybe averaging 35 in South Africa is akin to averaging your 40 plus or your 45 in Australia or in England. I don't know. Be interested to know people's thoughts on that. If you want to drop thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. And I suppose if you're going to reevaluate batting averages in South Africa, then you have to think about bowling strike rates and that sort of thing. As well. But interesting food for thought. But it just struck me 213 of 220 possible wickets in their last 11 tests, and it's not surprising to think that they have a 9-2 win-loss record in those 11 test matches. So they've got a lead of 281 at the moment. It'll be interesting to see if they can push home this advantage. They may already have a match-winning lead. I suppose we'll see how the pitch plays and how Sri Lanka apply themselves in the fourth innings of the match. But that's all from me for now. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you hit that subscribe button, I would greatly appreciate it.